Welcome everybody to the George Mokoena podcast. My name is George Mokoena, I'm your host, and this is a place where we speak about football. I tell you a little bit about the stories that have caught my eye and what I'm thinking about them. Please don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, share. Hey, zonke lezinto, contribute, all of the things you can to try help us keep up. So, let me get into the first story. Ngezana has won the Romanian Defender of the Year, plus also the best foreign player in the Romanian league that he's playing in for FCSB, otherwise known as Steaua Bucharest back in the day. Ngezana has surprised everybody by going to the Romanian league. Everybody here thought that Mankiho, Inkomo, and all of that type of stuff. And there he is shining that side. And firstly, I want to say well done. After going through everything he's going through, now being a bafana starter, we don't know for how long or what that's going to do, but now that he's a bafana starter, he's winning awards that side, he's playing Champions League. Hey, yazi, umnandu baungezana right now, or Europa League. Umnandu baungezana right now, and I just wanted to say well done to the boy, but it brings me to a very interesting conversation. I want to have a conversation about maybe the way we view players. And I've often said that, as South Africans, we have a tendency of liking a certain type of football with a certain type of player, and taking that and making our assessment on everybody. And I think that is a bit of an issue. I mean, we see it in the developmental places where all of the developmental coaches during the trials are looking for the flashy player, Mangashai Spaitu or something like that. Nobody worries about the quiet players, the players that don't make a noise but do a job. It's those players that when your team is missing them, all of a sudden you realize, good time, man, this person was a little bit more impressive or a little bit more important than I thought he was. And it speaks to the Ngezana situation. It speaks to the fact that I think we do have a problem in the country in appreciating some things that are different. We've had players go overseas that haven't gotten the love here. And I think it's because overseas clubs see them for what they are, instead of trying to hold up this standard, man, that we don't know where it comes from. Ngezana may not be a ball-playing defender. Ngezana may not be the best carrier of the ball. He may not be the best passer of the ball. But that side, you know what they say of him? They say that he's got tactical awareness. They say he's an imposing figure in defense. And maybe we need to start looking at ourselves and saying, are we not giving enough credit to some of those players? But what he has is good enough to do the defensive duties. I mean, think about it. We have players like Aubrey Modiba, for example, and please don't take this wrong. Aubrey Modiba is not the best defender, right? I'm not saying he's bad, but he's not the best defender. But we love him because he can invert into midfield, or he can take the ball, and make some passes and play some 1-2s. But fundamentally for the role that he plays, is he a left back? Or is he a player that happens to be at left back or starts from the left back position to go play? Often when Sundowns is played, he's covered by the other defenders, which is fine. It's all about teamwork. And it allows the coach to have another midfielder on the pitch, essentially. Right? Which is all well and good. But then how do we look at Lebusa, who has to cover? Not the best ball player. Not the best carrier of the ball. But he's somebody that does his job. Does his job so well that everybody else can do their jobs. So are these players that we look at, are they such bad players? Or do we want these players to play outside of what they used to? A lot of the conversation that happens in South African football is, we need quality. I want quality. We need a player that can do this, and modern football dictates this, and modern football dictates that. Meanwhile, team Yako has none of those players. Meanwhile, team Yako won't be able, or is not even winning games at that time. But yet you stay with this thing of here's the modern football, ngifuna defender yami ibamba ibhola, ngifuna bemnandi what. Nabo bongezana bayahamba. You failed to give him credit when he was here because it did not fit the mold of these mythical players, man, these unbelievable players. The reality is that we only have a handful of those players anyway. And even those players are not adaptable players. It's just that they've been systems that have been created around them. Now we watch Ngezana be good that side instead of when he was here going, this is what his strengths are. So because his strengths are this, I'm gonna coach towards this. I'm gonna play towards this. This is going to be what I focus on. And whether it be just to hold on for now, up till a time where I can get somebody in who can do what I want them to do. But man, I think these type of stories show us. Aburikhashwi were English Prem players. Weren't that highly rated in his Golden Arrows years, for example. They go that side, and because those teams see them for what they are, they're very successful. And maybe in South Africa, we have to start realizing that not every team has a Williams, not every team has a Mudiba, not every team has a Kutsia, not every team has a Mokoena, a Zwane, not every team has a Ribeiro and all of those players. You can make stars of players, of your players by just playing them to their strengths. Stop doing higher grade things or judging a fish by its ability to fly. Put it in the water, let it swim, get your results. And lastly, I just want to say, man, again, well done to Ngezana after all of the criticism. I'm sure, hey, it wasn't nice being here. And now he's one of the big stars that side. Who knows? His value has skyrocketed. Apparently, there are French teams that are looking for him, that want to sign him. He's worth hundreds of millions of rands now, from being worth very little here. We laughed when he went overseas. Now get perform. Let's get into the next story. The next story I want to touch on is about Tim Sukazi. Tim Sukazi came out and he was speaking about sponsorship. He mentioned that after everything TS Galaxy has done, by now they should have a corporate sponsor. They should have somebody who's coming in to sponsor the team and help shoulder some of that financial burden that Tim Sukazi goes through. Let me start off by saying, what does it mean to deserve sponsorship? What does it mean to be a team that corporate wants to get in on? Because there's a lot of conversation about corporate and how corporate doesn't want to support our teams, our football and all of that stuff, doesn't want to jump in. And fine, I believe that there is an element of corporate looking like certain people, so they don't understand our plight. They don't understand what happens with the majority of people that watch South African football. I don't want to use another term because I don't want to take it there, but there is an element of that. But my question becomes, what are you offering? What is a sponsor going to get in return for them jumping in and pushing your team? What have you done to make sure that your team is sponsor friendly? Because for me, a lot of the teams in the PSL, all they can offer sponsors is things that are external to the team. I'll give you an example. By virtue of TS Galaxy being in the PSL, they're on Supersport. Sorry, my TV is right in front of me. They're on Supersport. So when they go to sponsors, they say, we're going to give you visibility. We're on Supersport. What does that mean for a sponsor? What do they get back? Now, if you look at a team like Kaizer Chiefs, say what you will about Kaizer Chiefs, people say they're stealing sponsors and all of that stuff and it's unfair. But they've put themselves into a place where they can, at the very least, offer a sponsor an audience. Do you know why Kaizer Chiefs arrives 2 days early for their away games and they started a voter shop? Do you know why they have Instagram lives and all of that? It's because they can sell that and say to a sponsor, hey man, we've got X amount of fans. And from these X amount of fans, we get engagement from, let's say, 20% of them. And that's enough to sell out your jerseys. That's enough to do all of that. That's enough when we come through to shine a light on whatever you're doing. That Photoshop pops for that day. I'm sure I'm a SIM card where Chiefs go very quickly because of that action. They can offer you that. And note how it's got nothing to do with success. It's got nothing to do with the size of team, because a team the size of Kaizer Chiefs could just sit down. Now, Muches, when kids get launched, there's no way where you don't see her. Radio, TV, news, that, what, delivering to every radio presenter, doing this, doing that. There's no stone unturned, because they understand that as part of our return to the sponsor, Kappa comes in and says, hey, we want to sponsor you guys. They can say, okay, Kappa, after year one, we sold out your jersey in X amount of time. That is return. Let's look at the rest of the clubs. How many clubs can offer some sort of return? Forget about nationwide. What about in your area? How many people are TS Galaxy fans? Nje, you see a TS Galaxy thing, TS Galaxy jersey walking around, and maybe guys in the comments could correct me, but I'm sure even if you go to Mbombela right now, they don't have the visibility of that. I can't even give a sponsor a captive audience and say, Kiba. We may not be popping in Gauteng, mara in Mbombela, there's no way you can go without this, and we can offer you that. Sorry to interrupt the video that I'm sure you're enjoying, but I just wanted to say thank you for all of the support that you guys have shown me and my Overthinking Football platform. I'm a one-man band that's doing all of this, and I really do enjoy the comments about how, Supersport needs to come fetch me and SABC and all of that stuff. And I think it speaks to the quality of the content, but also the amount of effort that I put in. So I just wanted to say thank you. But the truth is that Abu Supersport and all of those guys, yes, we're competing with them, but it's a completely different place. The sponsors are looking for former players, and to be honest with you, running some of these things is getting so difficult, and things have changed at home. So financially, it's a whole different world. So I wanted to try something new and come to the overthinkers, the people who watch the content, and say it would be incredible if you guys could contribute monthly towards the platform, towards keeping my lights on, but also making sure that all of the crazy things that I want to do, that I want to take Supersport on with, I can actually do. And just for 20 Rand every month, I think that would be an incredible contribution if you can make it. It may sound like a little, but if we can get a lot of people behind it, then we'll be able to carry on doing what I do. I'll be able to carry on giving you the content and also expanding it, because we don't have shows like this, and us content creators need help from our audiences. So I just came here to ask you if you can. Here is the account number that you guys can use in order to contribute. And I think, I'd be very grateful if you would. But anyway, let's get back to the video. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. How much work do they do to go out in communities and create bonds with fans and all of that type of stuff? Attracting sponsors is hard. Doing the commercial work is hard. Ask Mamelodi Sundowns. Pound for pound, the most successful team right now in this last 15 years. They've won the most leagues, but stadiums aren't full. I don't know what the sales of the kit looks like. Ask how hard it is. The point I'm trying to make is that you have to offer something. And before we look at the other sports, look at what they're doing. Before we complain about other sports, look at what they're doing. Do you think Bok Friday is just a fun thing? You think it's just done so that we can all feel pride? It's a marketing ploy. Because they understand that for Bok Friday, we all need to have Bok jerseys or Bok shirts and whatever. So now the Springbok people go to wherever, Pick n Pay, and say, okay guys, we've got commercial, I will give you a commercial license for you to make Springboks clothes. Pick n Pay will say why, and they'll say, okay, every Friday when these guys are about to play, we're going to sell out this whole thing. Nike, Springbok jerseys and things like that, it's fine, don't worry. And you know what's even crazier? It even shows you that you don't need everyone. I think there's also a misconception that you need everyone to be a TS Galaxy fan for you to get sponsorship. But you just need to be able to concentrate it. For me, there shouldn't be anybody in Bombela, for example, as an example. Any business, any whatever. Team Sukazi should have taken some money and said, okay guys, we're going to blitz everyone. There's not a barbershop, there's not a king, there's not a chisanyama, there's not a anything that will not have somewhere TS Galaxy. Now you've created the type of value that makes it normal, probable. It makes it make sense for a team to come in, for a sponsor to come in and sponsor your team. But if you're not doing those things, you can't go and complain. Guys, a lot of what I say here is the sports that we love and we consume and we speak about and all of that stuff, we don't watch like that. We all watch the Springboks in 1 or 2 games. We don't care about their season. We don't even care about the club teams. So what is driving us wanting that? The English Premiership. Even if you're a diehard fan, you don't watch Brighton games. You don't watch some of the bottom teams' games. You don't care for them. Crystal Palace. Do you care for Crystal Palace? But what is your idea of the league, of the teams? There's people right now who believe that Mamelodi Sundowns wouldn't be able to make it in the English Prem. But they're not looking at the clubs at the bottom that struggle, that have bad players, that are surviving on the skin of their teeth. You know, there's a club that side that's sponsored by Ipswich. Ipswich Town is sponsored by Ed Sheeran. Only because, you know, he's a hometown boy. He grew up with it. He's got some money. An artist is sponsoring a team to show you how hard it is for them as well, that side. So I think we have so many surface level conversations about sponsorship and commercial and all of that stuff. We really need to delve deeper into those things. And maybe our teams actually have to show us some of the financials, some of the things that they're doing, some of the initiatives and all of that stuff, and break it down for us. Instead of coming out and wanting support or wanting us to feel sorry for you. Go and do the work. Anyway, last topic. This is just a feel-good. This is just a feel-good topic for me, if I'm being 100% honest. It's nothing big. It's not a big news item. So last week, Fabian McCarthy came out and said that he spoke on Coach Pitso. And he said that Coach Pitso in 2013 funded their CAF licenses. So for them to go to the courses and get their CAF licenses, he funded them. And I just wanted to speak on how our football is lacking that love. When there's a love, I don't know if Coach Pitso would have gotten anything from that. We're seeing him do it with the Pitso schools. We saw him give a lot of people opportunities and bring in people and groom people. Every time you hear players that have played under him, they say how amazing Coach Pitso is and how open his heart is and how much he loves football and to see everybody going forward. And I think those are qualities that we lack so much. And I just wanted to highlight Coach Pitso because honestly, I don't feel like he gets the recognition that he deserves as somebody who built the machine that is Mamelodi Sundowns. That is still his machine. It's only changing now. But he built the machine that is Sundowns. You know, Teko Mdise told the story about how at the time he wasn't even playing. I think he was at City Pillars. And Coach Pitso called him in to a restaurant. And they had a session where he's like, he wasn't even pitching me. He just was telling me things to get better. Because there's this phrase in South African football where we say, keep business. And because it's a business, we can't care for the development of players. Because it's a business, we can't care for creating lines for players to go from juniors to seniors. We don't care for the players that actually get into the PSL. We don't care to try and get those guys outside. We don't care to try and equip our coaches at the bottom. We don't care to run some things properly. We don't care to put in rules. Because people say it's a business. And for me, I would really love to see us act as Abo Coach Pitso. Sometimes the good of the game, you may not get anything from it. Or you may get very little from it. But you set the trend for everybody else coming after. So maybe we have a different SAFA. If Boteni Jordaan and the VPs and the National Executive Committee, if those guys were not profit driven and don't want to give away power. Because I can be sure that maybe a lot of them, when they started out with this thing, they had the purest of intentions and they were moving towards the good of the football. But as we go along and they feel the power and they feel all of that stuff and they don't want to let it go, why do we still have, and no disrespect to her, but Abu Mamriya wanting to come back into football and be the heads of SAFA? Why do we have Abu Teni Jordaan still being the heads of SAFA? Why are people like Abu Natasha Chiklas still vice presidents of SAFA? And it's not just SAFA, it goes across the board. I love Ntate Kaizer, Dr. Kaizer, Dr. Irvin Khoza. I love what they've built, what they've given us. But there's such a lack of a succession plan, and it doesn't feel like people want to let go. Dr. Irvin Khoza has just been voted into chairman again, unopposed. The executive committee pretty much always seems the same. It's got the same faces. Mamatu Madlala has been acting CEO of the PSL for, I believe, it's 10 years now. Acting for 10 years. And in my head, I'm like, for the good of the game, aren't we grooming the next guys? Aren't we bringing in new faces, new people, new ideas? Aren't we opening up the football? Or is it that every time something needs to happen in this country, we need to revolt against it? Only then can we even dream of being part of things. Can we even dream of contributing? Like, there's so much more that we could be doing, but I think we've moved so far away, man. You know, now magthatha intwana to go trial, intwana yakho itholile. And because you've got the connections, uyangena. Or at an academy, if you have the money, intwana yami izongena. And because that one is not affiliated with me, Mara, I'm not going to open the door for that one. You know, you see it across media. I'm only going to speak to these guys. And it's the same 7, 8, 10 guys you've been speaking to for the longest time. When are you going to allow new media to come in and have opportunities to interview people and speak to people and do some stuff with people? No disrespect again to Abo Marawa, Nabo BBK. They do their job. I'm not coming in to say that they're bad. But when are we going to develop new and really open up the game for us to come in there, and, or not us, but for more people to be able to access whatever it is that we're doing for the love of the game? Bangakudlela space kancane, but the game will grow. And I just wanted to highlight Coach Pitso. You know, there's a lot you can speak about Coach Pitso about. There's even right now, he took a team. He's taking his team there. I believe it's in Iran. He's taking that team, Esteglal, from relegation. They're now a top 8 team in that league. So shout out to him, and I want to put him as a symbol that you can be good and find yourself coaching Al Ahly. You can give opportunities and find yourself touring the world. He's in the Gulf now. He's opening schools. He's doing all of those things. And maybe more of us need to be more like him. But guys, it's been incredible. My name is George Mokoena. This has been the George Mokoena podcast. Please, like, share, follow, do all of those things, and help us grow. Help us grow and get into the spaces and create spaces, because the audience is king. And if you guys choose us, we can go as far as possible. I want to do more, right? But limitations are limitations. So support us. Watch the videos. I'm live every day, Monday to Thursday at 7 p.m. If not live, then I'm watching Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Bafana, Banyana. We watch them live on the show, right? So you can come in and we do watch-alongs on the weekends and all of that stuff. Guys, it's been incredible. I'll see you guys on the next one.